pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The prayer today is John 14:6. Jesus said to him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father but by me. Hell is no joke. Jesus came to save you from it. If you believe in Jesus, believe Jesus is the only way to heaven. Amen. Linda, want to get started?
Sure will. We did a supplemental appropriation from the juvenile court in their CASA funds OPERS account in order to pay for December payroll deductions. The court had employees in the fund in 2024, but nothing for 2025. OPERS is taken out a month in arrears, and this was done on January 15th. I'm also reporting on items approved on January 22nd. Rescinded the motion from December 30th, 2024, as she is unable to start at this time. That read, approved hiring Constance Ayman to the position of part-time adult day service assistant, number 1041-1, to be effective January 21st, 2025, at the rate of $19.23 per hour, with a one-year probationary period. This offer of employment is contingent upon the successful completion of the required pre-employment conditions. For Community and Economic Development, accepted and approved the Housing Revolving Loan Fund Program Income Report and the Economic Development Revolving Loan Fund Semi-Annual Report for the period July 1, 2024 through December 31st, 2024, and to further authorize the electronic submission of these reports. For the Maintenance Department, approved the promotion of Connor Loza to the position of Grounds Maintenance Supervisor, number 1913, to be effective January 19, 2025, at the rate of $24.74 per hour, grade 11, step 1, with a 180-day probationary period.
Thank you.
Good morning. So the next item we had to correct the amount that was previously. Why am I not getting the correct?
Do you need this one?
No, I have one. Okay. We need to, item number 3 is we are going to adjust the amount that was previously the motion for pay request number 15 for Infinity Construction Company. It was listed as $1,051,465.26. It is actually $1,050,465.26. It's just a clerical error there. I apologize for that. So the Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board amend the motion from January 14th, 2025 to correct the amount to read approve and authorize the President of the Board to execute the request for partial payment number 15 for Infinity Construction Company Incorporated for the Geauga County Courthouse Expansion GMP Phase number 1 and 2 expenses in the amount of $1,050,465.26.
I move to approve.
Second?
Commissioner Rea? Aye.
Okay, and then for today's financials, we have an appropriations transfer to the Sheriff's Office for miscellaneous refunds, reimbursements, and web checks that were deposited into the general fund. A supplemental for Job and Family Services in the Building Improvements account of their Children's Services Fund for the Youth Center project, and a supplemental in the Commissioner's miscellaneous accounts in the general fund for equipment, which is covering 800 megahertz radios for the Department of Emergency Services and the Dog Warden. Our contingency account, tax levies and assessments account, operating transfers out account, capital transfers account for the courthouse project, and also our reimbursement transfers. There are few cash transfers here, one from the general fund to court technology for a portion of their 2025 funding, from the general fund to community development, Metzen Bond Board of Elections for the fourth quarter 2024 interest transfer, and from the general fund to the Board of DD for gas well proceeds from October through December of 2024. Among the encumbrances are travel requests from the auditor's office for the ESRI user conference, from the Common Pleas Court for the Ohio Court Management Program Training Conference, and from Job and Family Services for the Child Welfare League of America 2025 conference. There's also a then and now from the Common Pleas Court to Family Pride for therapeutic behavioral services that were not previously encumbered. Among the vouchers are $246,800 from the auditor's office to ISSG Incorporated for year 2 of the master services agreement for the county's property management software, $104,105 from the commissioner's office to Ravenwood Mental Health Center for the first quarter youth center operations, $1,050,465.26 from the commissioner's office to Infinity Construction Company for pay request number 15 of the courthouse expansion project, and also $33,964.75 from maintenance to Middlefield Farm and Garden for a replacement Kubota tractor, and that was the tractor that was being used over at the Staples Center. So it's a pretty old one that they're gonna auction eventually on the county's auction site, so.
Adrian, can you tell me about the gas well proceeds? There's a gas well on DD, is that?
On their property, yes.
Okay. All right.
And we get payments for various gas wells around the county, and it was determined that the revenue that we received from that well would be reimbursed to the Board of DD.
Oh, okay. All right, I didn't know that. I learned something every time when I read the financials.
Yeah, that's, there are gas wells that are on other departments' properties,
Yeah.
but given the arrangement with Metzen Bond, it was determined to turn those over to them
Okay.
instead of the county keeping them.
How frequently do we get those payments from each well? 'Cause I mean, it was only like $100 or something.
Yeah, it wasn't very much.
Yeah.
And it varies from year to year depending on how active the well
Right,
is.
right,
And
yeah.
they may activate it when prices are a certain amount and they can get more out of it, I don't know, but it does fluctuate, but we get a payment every month from them.
All right.
Are those wells heating buildings as well?
I don't believe so, I believe the one over here on the old county home property,
Me too.
they do use that for that, I'm not sure about the other ones. I'm pretty sure this one does not do that.
Okay.
I don't know what to talk to you about maintenance, but I'd like to have the list of all the gas wells and what properties are,
Okay.
and what the revenue is.
Sure. Yeah, we, Debbie maintains a report when we get their checks,
Okay.
and it shows where all the money's going into which well it belongs. So-
In the next couple of weeks, that'd be great.
Sure. Yeah, there's the fairgrounds, we give them their proceeds, but we do theirs only yearly,
Right.
so.
So I'll move to approve the financials.
Second?
Commissioner Brinkley?
Aye.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Okay, and then number 5, we are amending the motion from the payroll and accounting authorization forms to include water resources. We had inadvertently left water resources off of that motion, so I'll go ahead and read this. The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board amend the motion from January 14th, 2025 to include water resources, to read, approve, and authorize the President of the Board to execute the revised accounting and payroll authorization forms for the Department on Aging, the Building Department, Commissioners, Community and Economic Development, Dog Warden, Emergency Services, Maintenance, and Water Resources.
Move to approve number 5.
Second?
Commissioner Brinkley?
Aye.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Okay, and then number 6, and we do have Andrea Gutka in the audience here today from Women's Safe. I'll go ahead and read the motion. The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board request the County Auditor to distribute the balance in the Domestic Violence Fund, Fund number 2070, to Women's Safe, the local agency designated by the Commissioners to receive such monies. This allocation is to be paid pursuant to sections 3113.34 of the ORC for the 2024 year in the amount of $13,002.69.
And so my only issue with this that I brought up was, it seemed like per the code, this request should have been made by October 1st of last year, and the letter was dated December 30th. So that was my only concern, but I mean, we have one shelter
Correct.
that we can send it to.
Yeah, and I did read over the ORC, and
Yeah.
I would think that in a situation where you have a number of different agencies that can receive these funds, it would be important to get that early on in the year, because there's kind of like, there's a process where they apply, then we respond and let them know if they qualify and all this. So, given the fact that there is only one in the county right now, I reached out and asked for the information at the time. So, I think maybe next year we will take a different look at this and maybe try and do things a little more to the letter of that
Yeah, we'll
ORC.
put a reminder on your calendar,
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
to reach out to website for their,
Well, now I know why, so I would get the requests so early in the year, and that's because that's how the ORC is written, so.
and it seems like historically they have submitted the request
Yes,
early.
yes,
It was just this year.
correct. I'm assuming it was just an oversight at the time, so.
You have any questions?
No. Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve number 6.
Second?
Commissioner Brady?
Aye.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Morning, Rick.
Good morning. Thank you for your time again this morning. Airport authorities requesting the board approve and authorize the president of the board to execute the grant contract under fiscal year 2025 Ohio Airport Improvement Program matching grant for the general aviation airports between Geauga County Airport Authority and the Ohio Department of Transportation Office of Aviation. This is a matching grant for our taxiway construction. It's the third and final portion of the funding for that.
And this had been promised previously to the airport.
Yes.
So this is kind of an honorary.
This is the final
Okay.
piece. So,
And in the paper, with our match of $176,365, the airport will be getting like 3.1 million.
yes, from the FAA as well.
Great.
Yep, bringing our tax dollars back home.
So I'll make a motion to approve 7, but general, we just need an L on the end of that word.
Yes.
I second the motion.
Commissioner Brady?
Aye.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yep.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for coming.
If you have any other questions, I'd be more than happy to try to answer or
Yeah,
Or
well,
find the answer.
as a new commissioner, give me, explain to me like I'm a 5th grader, how does the average Geoggan benefit from the airport?
Well, the number one way is we have the UH AirMed helicopter base at our airport that benefits the entire county. We also typically will base a squad ambulance there as well. We have a number of events where we bring the community in to experience the airport. We give free rides to a lot of the kids that are 8 to 17, and a number of other programs that benefit all the community.
A couple of years ago, I brought up to
School
you about
tours, yes.
collaborating with Kent State University in Aeronautics, because they have a program, and I'm just hoping someday that you could utilize Kent State Geauga.
We are still working on that, and actually recently I've been talking with Hiram College as well. They are interested in doing something. I'm also working with the ACE program, or the ACE Academy through Cardinal Schools. We're putting together an aviation program for those kids as well.
Thank you.
Just trying to expand what we do too all the time.
I've been to the pancake breakfast.
Best pancakes in Northeast Ohio.
No comment. I've been to a lot of them, so.
I know, that's our kind of joke.
Yes. Everybody has the best.
Yes.
Well, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
It's like leadership geography classes, right? Every
Yes.
class is the best. But I mean, they did provide, the juvenile court did provide an explanation this time,
Okay.
right? That it seems like because CASA is under the juvenile probate court, they will send, I'm not trying to explain this, but they will send their GALs and so forth to training, and sometimes it is more expensive than $7,000 or $6,000.
And that's what we're looking for to pass it. Why?
Yeah, just some sort of explanation for why they needed more than the common police court, so. And it seems to me this request is just asking the credit union for a credit increase. I mean, we're not granting the credit increase, we have no power to do that. So we'd be approving their request to the credit union, and then the credit union would have to decide what to do from there. Okay, and then they'd have to change their policy after.
They have to come back and we do the limits that we previously,
Okay.
the 6,000 limit that we did.
All right, so I'll make a motion to approve 8.
Second?
Commissioner Brady?
Aye.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes. Department on Aging.
Hello, good morning.
Just a reminder, since we're on camera, state your name and what department.
Absolutely. Good morning, Jessica Bolt, Director of Geauga County Department on Aging.
Wayne Goodlack, Fiscal Officer for Aging.
Good morning. So we are here this morning asking you to approve and execute resolution number 25013, and that is a certificate of need for renewal of our 1 mil levy for the purpose of providing and maintaining senior citizen services or facilities. So this levy, the senior services levy, first became a levy in the year 1995. It was a 1 mil levy at that time. It was replaced in 2009 with a 1 mil levy. I started with the department in 2013, so I had the pleasure of renewing that levy in 2014 with the collection starting in 2016. And again, in 2020, we renewed that replacement levy from 2009 again with the collection in 2021. So this is the last year of collection for that levy, and we are asking to be able to put that on the ballot for the May 6th election so that we can do another renewal, no new tax. We're looking to renew that 2009 levy at that 1 mil.
And would this be a year earlier than expiration?
No, it will not. This is the last year of collection, so we will be collecting beginning 2026.
Okay, thanks.
So can you talk a little bit about what your cash carryover was this year?
Yes, I can. So our unencumbered, I will give you our actual unencumbered cash carryover, if that's okay, as opposed to beginning balance. So we are at about $2,336,533.14. And I will say that was about $400,000 more than we would have initially anticipated. And that was because we were successful in getting grants from the Western Reserve Area Agency on Aging at about $400,000 more than we originally anticipated, which impacted our carryover.
I mean, the one thing I'm a bit concerned about is the relative cost right now of the primary versus the general.
Yes.
Because my understanding is this would be a lot less expensive if we did this in the general, because there'd be more issues and candidates on the ballot versus if we do it now where there's one statewide issue. West G, I think, has a levy on the ballot, and then we'll, I guess, see where the chips fall. But, I mean, it seems like you're looking at about $30,000 to put it on the ballot.
It appears to be, when I reached out to when I reached out to the Board of Elections and I spoke with Scott and kind of asked him, how does this work now that the state has come on? They explained that the state does pay for their issue, and then when additional parties join, the cost then is split between the individuals. At this point, I'm not sure if anyone else is joining. Clearly, the more individuals who join, the lesser the cost. But yes, we are looking in the realm of the mid to upper 30,000s, unless there's been any changes since I last reached out to him.
And we don't know what it would be if it was pushed off till the general election at this time, okay?
I could only make an assumption, which is not very safe to do, that it would be a lesser amount if there would be more individuals participating.
Yeah, I mean, I think just in the future, it's too late now. Sorry, does someone know the answer to that?
Oh, I thought I heard something else.
It's too late now, but I guess I'd like to see these go on the general election ballot where it is less cost. And I get like your timeline right now is tight, but in the future, like let's get ahead of these a little better so that it does cost less and that the money can go more directly to services and serving the community rather than just, you know, the cost. I mean, it's the same process if it's the general election or the primary election. We just have to pay more if it's the primary. So I don't know who else is coming up that might be listening, but like, let's try to get ahead of these so that we're doing better for the taxpayer. Absolutely.
I think that's why a lot of the levies are a year early.
Yeah, the November prior even.
Yeah. Yeah, and then if it fails, you have multiple opportunities. Yeah, I mean, I think my just comment is I know that probably since you've passed your last levy, the law has changed as far as how employees can advocate for, so I just
Yes.
want to make sure
very
you're
much
aware.
so.
I mean, I'm not advising you, I'm just saying, make sure you know that.
Yeah,
Or you can talk to your counsel about
Yes.
what you're allowed and not allowed to do.
Yes, our APA is wonderful, Lori LaChapelle. She actually, in 2003, when the change to the certification of need paperwork as well as the resolution came out, she also sent information about participating in levies and the do's and don'ts of what can happen, what can and should not happen in the county office buildings with employees, et cetera. So we do
Okay.
have that guidance.
Great.
Absolutely.
And then, Jessica, did you talk about already, like, what % of your budget is the levy versus other sources of income?
Yeah, absolutely, and if it's okay, I will use 2025 for reference. So we are anticipating the levy to bring in $3,263,885. Our total revenue that we are anticipating is $4,109,135. So the funds from the levy are about 79.43% of the budget. Now, we do receive grant funding, primarily through Western Reserve Area Agency on Aging. That accounts for about 14% of our budget. What's interesting about that grant is, it is a reimbursement grant. So we do have to have staff, employees, services in place to provide services to then submit for reimbursement. Furthermore, there is a cash match required for these grants. Typically, it's 15% cash match for our human social services and 25% cash match for our Alzheimer's programs. The additional amount, about the 6.57% that would make up our total revenue budget, is from fees as well as donations. And fees, when we have senior center outings, we do pay the initial bill, but our seniors pay to play, if you will.
And do your fees actually, like when someone, you know, pays for their bus trip or whatever, does that actually cover the actual cost or?
Dwayne, I will let you talk about your estimate of cost.
That depends by each instance.
Okay, yeah.
Each of the sites, the coordinator takes and gets the costs and so forth, estimates the attendance they expect, and calculates the costs that they're going to pass on to the senior. In some cases, the coordinator determines that in their budget, they have enough to cover out of their budget rather than passing the cost on.
Yeah.
In most cases, the cost is passed on to the
Wholly passed on. And can you be an out-of-county person and like a trip that's, I mean, essentially subsidized by taxpayers?
Yes, but those people do pay an annual fee to be a member.
Okay.
Some of them are family members and friends, you know,
Right.
and so forth that like to participate.
Okay.
So we do collect a fee for that.
And I will also add, they are on a wait list until all Geauga County residents get first
Right.
priority. I would like to be clear about that.
I was just curious. I mean, I just thought of the question as I was sitting
Yes.
there, so. Okay, I'm good. Are you good?
I am fine.
All right, so I'll make a motion to approve item number 9.
Second motion.
Commissioner Brinkley?
Aye.
Commissioner Boyle?
Yes.
Well, thank you so very much. You have a wonderful day, both of you.
You too.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Elaine Malkovich.
Program Coordinator for Community and Economic Development. I have a little bit easier request right now. Community and Economic Development is requesting the board approve and authorize the president of the board to execute the Ohio Department of Development Office of Community Development Organization contacts form. It's our ocean users. We use that to apply for our community development block grant. It is just our website and it lets us who can use it, who cannot. We are removing Jerry Morgan, and Linda stepped up and said that she would like to be on there. We can add a commissioner if you choose. You can view it. It pings you when we do a draw or if we do an application. So we do have our year 25 community development block grant coming up this year. So, you know, if you guys would like to be on that, we could put you on that also. I'd have to change the forms though before you sign them.
So what, I'm just a little confused. So what is what do you need approval for?
I need approval for.
That seems a little different than what you're describing to me.
Well, it is, so there is a user form, it's a contact form.
Okay.
We have to remove people. The other one, there's a user enrolls form on there, and you can be a view only. You can have permission to do draws. We've given permission to Linda for all of the, I don't know if you have a copy.
It's here.
It's hard to describe.
Okay, but so it would be for
Go ahead.
Mr. Dvorak to execute the forms
Yes.
to make these changes.
Yes,
essentially.
correct. I'd have to have
So
an
it's
authorized
like a-
official to do that. And then there's a data confidentiality agreement that is signed also.
I'll make a motion to approve.
A second motion.
Commissioner Briggs?
Yes.
Commissioner Dvorak?
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Good morning. Good morning. Should have made you pancakes for how long you have to put up with me this morning. Mine would, of course, be the best.
Exactly.
You know, at least that's what my kids tell me.
Well, the first pancake is a little rough, but after that,
You
everything.
can't even get the waffle maker out if you really want it. so. All right. Well, good morning. First action that I'm asking the board to take is to reappoint the board members that are listed in item number 12 that have served on our Family Services Planning Committee. I made sure that I submitted the statute just as further, explanations as to what the Family Services Planning Committee is, as if they are an advisory board to Job and Family Services. Actually, Mrs. Bolts is a member of the Family Services Planning Committee, and it is really, we have meetings that are quarterly downstairs at Job and Family Services in the Carlton rooms. Usually the meetings are about an hour, and it's where my staff gets an opportunity to highlight quarterly what basically has occurred within Job and Family Services. There's usually a lot of moving parts within our agency. We also have my directors submit reports to the board. The board can obviously ask questions. We also give highlights on what could be coming out, what changes can be coming, from the administrative, from the federal government. I can say the people that I have highlighted and that have served have done a great job. A lot of people know these individuals. They are really many of the who's who of whose JFS's services can impact, whether it's the Sheriff's Department, whether it's mental health, whether it's Department of Aging, whether it's our universities, our schools. These individuals represent that. I know that you are looking to come on to the Family Services Planning Committee, which I think you will understand to be a great learning opportunity, but also an opportunity to share your input with our services. Typically, historically, and I know, Commissioner, you've had some questions in regards to how these individuals come to be on the committee, and we can always look at changing that or what have you. But they typically have come the board has asked me for my input. I have submitted the names, the board has been able to ask questions about these individuals. I did, hopefully got my email. I did
send it to them yesterday.
Okay, got the titles of the individuals, but if you, in the future, want more background information, I'm happy to submit that. I would ask that the board at least consider to appoint them for the time being. If you would wish to make changes, I would understand that. But we do have a meeting coming up, and I would like to have my board in place, if that would be okay.
So I'll make a motion to approve 11.
Second?
Commissioner Brady?
Aye.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
I think it was 12, right? Or did it switch?
It's switched. There's a new one.
Oh, sorry, I printed it out, sorry.
11 and 12 are both of your family services.
Okay, fantastic.
Oh,
Sorry, I printed it out from yesterday, so my numbers were off.
I was gonna joke and say I'm gonna make a motion to deny 12. Just to keep it interesting. You know, we've had a lot of exciting meetings, this one feels a little dull right
I
now.
know, of course, at my expense, it's okay. It's my life.
I'll make a motion to approve 12.
Second.
I'm very excited about 12, sir, so.
Oh.
Commissioner Brady?
Calm down.
Aye.
Hard to calm you down.
So then you have the new one.
Yeah, 13.
Okay.
Yep, gotcha. And I will feel like I'm gonna be in a courtroom, but I just wanted to print this out.
Oh, we got an exhibit?
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yeah.
This is just to show you that Amy Bursch is on this committee now.
So she's a reappointment then?
Yes.
Okay.
That was fun. Amy Bursch is currently serves on the Great Lakes Regional Council. I will give a brief explanation of what it is. Great Lakes Regional Prevention Council is the only government, quasi-government entity that receives preventative funds from the state treasury. So these are the only dollars that are out there from the state that go to serve prevention, child abuse and neglect prevention. I believe it's in the range of about $10 million a year, which is a drop in the bucket, obviously. I know that. So this council is divided up into regional groups throughout the state of Ohio. The council that serves Geauga is the Great Lakes Council, which has the following counties that are in the exhibit that I provided to you that show who represents those entities. Each one of those counties has a representative. Amy has already been serving and served the last 2 years on this group and has done so very well. She's our most longest tenured social worker on staff at JFS. And I previously have been, I think Mr. DeWort has appointed me prior. I had served my time. Amy has been serving her time, done it well, and she gets a vote towards the different projects. What happens is different entities throughout the region submit proposals of what services they think they can provide that would best reduce child abuse and neglect prevention. They read these proposals, and then these individuals vote on them. And then those that get the vote get the dollars. So she has done an excellent job on that. This likely will be her last term, as she's probably going to retire soon. But she, again, is our most senior social worker, and I recommend that you guys reappoint her to that council to continue with her duties.
So what sort of programs do they fund? Is this like educational?
No, it's, I'm trying to think of a lot of, education, parenting practices. A lot of our parenting practices, some are employment related, because we understand the statistics are the odds are better, you'll have a better, safer home if you are employed, gainfully employed. Ultimately, a lot of stress reduction type of things. We have, I'm trying to think of the one that's currently at Catholic Charities. There's a program that they're doing currently at Catholic Charities that essentially helps people become employed. It also works on parenting classes. Ravenwood has run some programs before. So it's ultimately these different entities submit proposals, they get voted on, and they get the funds to provide those classes.
Just, and some of the money comes back to Geauga? I mean, you're saying
Yes.
Ravenwood.
Yeah, the council makes sure that all the different counties are touched, so there's no one gets left behind.
Okay.
And so a lot of the time, sometimes you're more concerned that Cuyahoga will eat up the majority of these funds. Even Cuyahoga, when I served on it, was very mindful that, no, we need to make sure that we touch on, Geauga County residents. So no one gets left behind. And that's why we want these representatives there.
Yeah. So I'll make a motion to approve 13.
Second motion?
Commissioner Brady?
Aye.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes. You mentioned unemployment. Yesterday I went to my NACOG meeting, and Geauga County is 2.6% unemployed. So we have the greatest workers, in northeast Ohio.
What is it statewide?
Statewide,
I think it's closer to 4.
Yeah, I was thinking
In the
that's even
fours.
low, that's good.
2.6, it's a high mark for Geauga. So.
Yeah. That's great. That's great. Margot's doing a great job.
Yeah.
All right, next, and I hope this goes as well as it did for aging. So, with that being said, I am asking that the county, and hopefully you got my email last night, and I created some charts and documents for you to kind of highlight where we're at with our levy funds. And I also want to remind the board that I did try to go out in the fall.
I heard that.
Yeah, and there was some documents that did not go through the state. And so I'm mindful of the cost of the levy when it comes to putting on the special election ballot. I still, in my humble opinion, believe it's worth the bite at the apple because we only get so many bites at the apple to pass these. This also is a renewal, just so the board is aware. JFS is supported by 2 operating levies. One is a 0.7 qualified levy, so it's the old levy that is a lesser burden to the taxpayers. And then this one that I'm asking for renewal is a 0.5 mil levy that was originally passed in 2015. And again, hopefully you have the documents or copy of the ones that I sent you last night. If you take a look at the chart, do you guys have? Beautiful, prepared. So with that being said, if you take a look, we were back in about 2016, because obviously once you pass these levies, it takes a while for them to kick in and start receiving those funds once it's passed. But we were, and also there's another document that I submitted that has all our fund balances with the PCSA fund. We were about $400,000 within the month of, I think it was March 2016, of literally becoming bankrupt when it comes to our PCSA fund.
What's PCSA name?
Public Children's Services Account.
Thank you.
I apologize, I speak in acronyms.
So tell us what that can be used for.
So this is all our monies that can go anything towards children's services. JFS is largely, children's services, our levies are probably 80 to 90% of our full operating funds for children's services. The state, thankfully under the DeWine administration, has kicked in some more additional dollars, but they are really a drop in the bucket to what these levies do to support my staff, but more importantly, the placement of children and youth, not just throughout Geauga County, not just throughout the state, but oftentimes can be beyond our borders in Ohio where children need to go. Now, I am very much hoping that the construction of our new youth center will allow to bring many of our children home. That is what this project is going to be. I'm greatly appreciative that Mr. Dvorak has taken such a great interest in this project and has been very helpful with his knowledge. But right now, our current youth center really maximizes with the way it can really work is about 7 kids. Our new youth center will be able to go up to 16, which will be amazing, and these kids will not have to go most likely out of the county as long as obviously their behaviors are congruent with what that type of facility can provide. But that's going to be a huge change and shift for our kids, for our county kids. And I think we'll also bring it, in the end, cost savings to the county, because Ravenwood, their per diem that they have currently provided for the current youth center is pennies on the dollar compared to what some of these other facilities are throughout the state. Ravenwood, I believe, is currently between about $270 a day per kids. Many other facilities that I send kids to are in the upwards of $1,000 a day. Now, so obviously, and we're gonna have to figure out what that rate is gonna be with the new facility, but I still think it's gonna be incredibly less than some of these other places. On top of the staff time that I have to have my workers, because we have regulations that say we need to meet with these kids so often, see them face to face, drive there, drive back, costs wear and tear on cars, all that being said. So I'm really looking forward to that. So of our current cash balance, which again, as of December 2024 was 7.7 million, I'm thinking about 6 million of that is spoken for with what our estimated costs are for the youth center. We are also hoping for $1 million grant from the state to help with that as well. That'll put us down to a little bit less than 2 million, which still makes me nervous. If you take a look at the document that I provided to you, our receipts and disbursements on a monthly basis can swing $700,000-800,000 just within a single month, just because that's just the way our costs are. They're expensive, and so a lot of people have talked about JFS's cash balance. I'm telling you that it's not what it is, and we've been very carefully saving these dollars for this project, which I think will pay dividends for the county for a long time coming, not just in the short term, but the long term as well. I
Have you
really
applied for this $1 million from the state?
yeah, actually, your office has. It
Okay.
is. It's been through the commissioner's office with the support of Ravenwood as well, and so it is a reimbursement grant. So
you have to pay the money and then they
Mhm.
get it back. Okay.
and JFS has already started paying. I think we've paid already 2 to 3 architect bills already for the youth center.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask. So, I mean, so you're saying it's gonna cost $6 million for the youth center?
I'm hoping less, but that's
Okay.
what we have. That's our kind of, and they know that. The architects know that. That's our end all be all amount for this youth center. Right now, the most recent document that I've got has it estimated about 5.3, and they're telling me that that's hopefully conservative. But as we all know, when you get into construction and you put a shovel in the ground, what happens, Mr. Dvorak?
There's surprises along the way.
Exactly.
And some, minor changes that, they offer you this or that to be in the building or outside the building or whatever. And so you make choices along the way of construction.
Yeah, so it's now that I'm kind of really truly overseeing the project. I'm really hoping that it stays within budget, obviously.
Okay, so it's a $6 million project. We're hoping to get $1 million from the state.
Yeah, well,
It would be a
in addition,
reimbursement.
so the project could be up to 7.
So you're gonna spend more money on it if we get money from the state?
That's always kind of been the budget of this project.
I see.
That 6 maximum of 6 that would come from JFS.
I see what you're saying. So it's a $7 million project.
But it could come under that. We're hoping that it comes under that.
So, yeah, when you're saying the 5.3,
That's 5.3 is what the most recent estimate that they've given us for the whole project, which was which we were very happy, was very much under the 7 or 6 million that we
Okay.
were.
Craig, did that include the FF&E, the fixtures and equipment, or is that over and above what's in that contract?
I wish I had the document in front of me,
It's
but
a
I thought
question.
it did include
I
that.
thought from the meetings that I went to,
Okay.
but could you make sure?
Yes.
Thank you.
okay, so it's a $5.3 million project. We're gonna get $1 million from the state. How much have we spent so far?
I want to say $100 and some odd $1,000 just in architecture
Okay,
fees.
so it's a minimal cost.
That we've spent so far.
Yeah, okay,
Just architecture stuff.
okay. And then you're saying your cash balance is 7.7 million?
7.725 as of December 2024.
Okay, and then do you have a separate fund that's for these, like a building?
It's in a contractor, yes, it's accounting
That's
for.
part of that 7.7?
Correct.
Okay, we're not like shell gaming it, okay. Just-
I don't run any Mexican operation.
I know how government works, I figured out this much already.
You're good.
There's a lot of things going on.
Yeah, no, there's no shells at JFS.
Okay. And I guess the other thing I had questions about is it seems like this levy has been suppressed the past few years, so could you talk about that a little
Absolutely.
bit?
Happy to do that. So, again, we are, I'm very much try to be transparent and a steward of taxpayer dollars. I do not want to collect if we do not have to. I think that's part of the, I don't want to say the game, because it's not a game, but part of the process and part of having a levy is there are, especially with children's services, there are waves that comes. In the teens, when I first started, 2014 through 2018, we had a monstrous opiate crisis. We were spending $2.2 million a year just in placement costs alone. We don't know when that is going to come around. If you look at the chart that I provided, and I'm happy to provide it to the media or whoever, COVID, if you see what the years, people weren't laying eyes on as many children. You had schools that were not in person. I know you're sensitive to this issue. You had people not going to therapy appointments. People weren't laying eyes on children. So we weren't getting the referral calls, and which was a huge concern. I mean, JFS directors or children's service directors throughout the state were freaking out because we knew stuff was happening, but we just didn't get to see it, and people weren't making referrals. So our placement costs during COVID weren't through the roof. But at that same time, we were also collecting for the youth center. So that's when our cash balance went up. Since COVID has gone and since we started construction on the youth center, you can see that already we've gone from a cash balance of 11 million, now we're down to 7, just in a matter of a year and a half. You can see how much, that's $4 million, our cash balance can swing, that quickly just with our costs. So it's not, it can move quickly. And again, I wanted to make sure that you guys can see that, that it's, with us, it's very fluid, and that's why we are so grateful for these levies and that we need them. And I always want to make sure that, again, we are going to be that steward that will suppress it. We suppressed it once because we felt like we could do that, and then we also suppressed it another time. However, that is when the commissioner's office, I know Adrian's here, can explain, that's when the letter went out to the constituents. We suppressed it, but the commissioners made us whole. So it really wasn't a suppression, it was just a relief to the taxpayers.
Right.
So that wasn't because it wasn't out, we didn't need it, it was because of that tax issue.
I think Adrian has something he wanted to add.
Yeah, well, that's why I just want to make sure that was brought out, that the commissioners suppressed that and made them whole in order to mitigate the increase in taxes to the residents because of the increase in property values. So it didn't affect children's services, but the general fund did see an increase, so we reduced the overall tax burden from children's services and made it up through the general fund.
Okay. And then what are we seeing now? Because I know that decision was for what years?
That was for, it's for last year's collection, which would have been 2023 taxes.
Okay, so should we think about what we want to do about that reevaluation, kind of like windfall money this year?
So this year, the Budget Commission did suppress the Children's Services Fund again. It wasn't the full 2.4 million, it was just 1 million this year, and we're gonna see the effects of that and how it plays out, and then we can make a determination for next year.
To make them whole as needed.
Correct.
Okay.
They're gonna get the $1 million from the general fund.
We just wanted to decrease the shock to the taxpayers. That's the process.
And we were a partner in that together is what we did. And I just want to make sure the board knows, and I'm sure they already do, is that we review this year to year. If we need to do it again, we'll suppress it again. And so it's not just, okay, we're gonna put it on for 5 years, we're automatically gonna collect. But again, like I said, it ebbs and flows with needs. If we have another crisis, yeah, we have to collect, but if we don't, we're gonna give it back. And that's always gonna be the case.
Okay, and is this a qualified levy or unqualified?
The one you're voting on is not a qualified. The one that we're gonna be doing, because my levies run back to back, so we'll be
Okay.
doing another one either in the fall or in the spring of next year. That's
Let's
the,
do it in the fall.
if I'm eligible, I will.
Last, okay.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
If that one's eligible, I will.
I wanna get ahead of these. I mean, at least that will be a gubernatorial year, so there will be other things in the ballot. Versus
Exactly.
this
There'll be a
year-
primary in 26.
Right, versus this year, there's really nothing, I don't think, on the ballot other than these issues and levies.
Correct.
So,
And again, we wanted to go in the fall, but,
yeah,
yeah.
I understand.
Yep. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess, I just wanna be conscious of that balance as we build the youth center, your cash carryover, and just make sure we're responsible to the taxpayer.
Yeah, and like I said, and Jim absolutely is on, I mean, he's my phone buddy. Yeah, the last couple of weeks.
Sometimes 2 or 3 times a day, we talk about the youth center. We're having a constructive value engineering meetings at this moment to
Yeah.
get the price down a little bit.
Absolutely.
So Craig, this levy is a renewal, not an
Both
increase?
both
correct?
are renewals.
Understood.
Is there one?
All right, so I'll make a motion to approve 14.
Second?
Commissioner Brady?
Aye.
Commissioner Wall?
Yes.
Thank you very much. And the next item,
Are you still up here?
Oh, yes.
I told you. Does anyone have a pancake maker? All right, so next we are one of the agency credit cards.
Yes.
Okay, so the next couple items are some changes to, just so you guys know, JFS has a separate policy and procedure manual than the county. There are a lot of things that mirror each other, but because we are a department that has a lot of different moving parts, a lot of different types of funding and things of the nature, we really need to be separate. With that being said, myself, we worked very closely with Linda on the credit card policy that has already been adopted by the county. All I did was essentially take that policy, put it into the format of our policy and implement it. So in order for us to take advantage of the benefits of the new county policy, I need to ask this board to approve for it to go into our policy and procedure manual.
Do you have anything to add about 16 too, so we could just approve those two at the same time?
Those are the several different okay. This is, since I'm coming up with a credit card policy, over the course of years, you end up finding that you need to make tweaks to your policy, whether it's a typo, whether it's a change of address, and I actually provided each of you with both red lines.
Yeah, I appreciate you doing that, because that's helpful to see, because some of them, the red lines were pretty minor, so it was.
Yeah,
It was
so there are things you pick up on over times reading through it and you realize, so I provided, again, the red line and what it is gonna be. Some were just minor, very minor tweaks, some are addresses. They're all very ministerial changes to our policy, nothing that is really, again, substantial, but they're fixes that need to happen. So since I was coming up with a credit card policy, figured I could do those at the same time. So that's what those are as well.
Yeah, it took me a second to figure out the smoking change. I'm like, why are you making this? Oh, because you moved.
Yes. So we don't think the hospital would appreciate it if my staff walked all the way back over there to go smoking at the old building.
Well, I just saw like the Ravenwood address, and I'm like, why did they change this? Oh, it's a different address. Right. Yeah,
I mean, if you want them to, in the cold though, you'd be asking a lot for my
so
staff to
right
go
now,
on.
if they're violating the policy, if they smoke anywhere other than across the street.
I think I've had some people quit since then.
All right, so I'll move to approve 15 and 16.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Second the motion.
Commissioner Brady?
Aye.
Commissioner Wall?
Yes.
All right, executive session.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session, Department of Job and Family Services, requesting the board move an executive session for the purpose of discussing matters related to security.
I'll second.
Commissioner Brady?
Aye.
Commissioner Wall?
Well, Glenn,
And say Glenn.
And Craig and Glenn?
Yes, please.
Okay. This shouldn't be very long at all.
You're welcome.
I don't know, that was.
It might be like, that might be what Jill is considering. I think that's really the name of the grant.
Give me a second. I gotta get on my paper.
I think we need over 75.
Get ready.
Back into return from executive session, any action?
No action. State your name and your department.
Charles T. Catch, Maintenance Department, and I have number 18 on the agenda. The Maintenance Department is requesting the board approve and execute the agreement for professional design services with CT Consultants Incorporated / Verdantas Architecture Incorporated to provide professional design and contract administration services related to remodeling approximately 1,160 square foot of basement space in the Geauga County Courthouse Annex Building in an amount not to exceed $36,000.
So this is for the, to act as the general contractor and for the architectural services?
Yeah, this is purely the A&E services.
Okay, and then what's the anticipated cost of that whole project?
Right now, it varies. We won't know until the engineering is done, but
Right.
I would estimate somewhere between $150 and $350.
Okay,
And the reason is we're trying to minimize the impact with the new lavatory that has to be built. You have to, jackhammer the floor up and put new plumbing in. The HVAC has to be expanded. The ceiling needs to be raised a bit. So we're trying to minimize that by reconfiguring the space. So
okay.
I'm going to give you that range right now, but I'll know for
That's a
sure.
big range.
Yeah,
Okay.
once we get there.
Is there like asbestos in there or anything?
No,
Okay.
that's all been taken care of.
Oh, that's good. I'll make a motion to approve 18.
A second?
Commissioner Brinkley?
Aye.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Alrighty.
Nick Gorse with Water Resources Department. Item 19 on the agenda is requesting the board approve and authorize the president of the board to execute the agreement to extend contract execution date pursuant to revised code 153.12 for the McFarland Creek wastewater treatment plant improvement project, extending the date of execution by 60 days through April 3rd, 2025. This is normally we have that 60-day period to sign a contract. Because of the EPA and the funding for them to do that award, we need to do this extension.
That's what I was gonna ask, why, if it was a funding
Yeah, it's
issue.
because of the timeline with the EPA to approve the loan.
Okay, very good. I'll move to approve 19.
Second order?
Commissioner Brinkley?
Aye.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Item 20 on the agenda is requesting the board approve and execute the service contract agreement with Business Incorporated to perform maintenance service and installation on our telemetry and control systems, including meter calibration at various wastewater and water district facilities within the department for 1 year period, effective January 23rd, 2025, in an amount of $15,000, $5,000 on the wastewater side, $10,000 on our water district side. Currently, they help us with any issues with the SCADA and the controls for our VFD drives. They're the experts that can tweak the timings, and our guys are being trained to pick that up now currently with the team that we have.
I'll make a motion to approve 20.
Second?
Commissioner Brinkley?
Aye.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Item number 21, the Commissioner's Office is requesting the board grant permission to hold a public hearing regarding the proposed reemployment of retired rehirant Dan Spada to the position of Chief Building Official number 1101. This public hearing will be held on Tuesday, March 11th, 2025 at 10 a.m. Notice of this public hearing will be advertised on January 30th, 2025, and on the county website.
Can you say retired, rehiring?
3 times really fast.
I was like, oh, that's a tricky one.
Retired, rehired.
I'll make a motion to approve 21.
Second?
Commissioner Brinkley?
Aye.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Item number 22, the Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve the addition of grade E19 to the executive pay table to be effective January 23rd, 2025.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Commissioner Brinkley?
Aye.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Item number 23, the Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board appoint Adam Lidkey as alternate for James W. Dvorak to the Geauga Trumbull Solid Waste Management District Policy Committee for the year 2025.
That was
I'll
your
make that
choice.
motion. Yes.
I'll second.
Commissioner Brinkley?
Aye.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
At this time, we have a few items for discussion that we would like feedback from the Board about. The first one is NOACA committee and subcommittee appointments. I'm going to ask Christy to talk to you about a conversation that she had with the folks at NOACA this morning to give us some clarity on this.
So as we know, you, as commissioners, get to kind of decide what committees you would like to sit on at NOACA. For clarification, I asked this morning if there was a requirement by board action for you to determine what committee or subcommittee that you personally wanted to sit on with NOACA. And she said there's no formal action that is required. If you simply want to change the committee that you're sitting on, that you just have to let them know in advance of the board roster approval, which is at their meeting tomorrow. If there would be someone that you would need to appoint to a specific subcommittee, like we took action with Mr. Horace and an alternate, then that would have to be done today at your meeting in order to notify them so that it could be in place for the meeting tomorrow.
I notified them, and I think I have all my places covered.
Okay, so I made some requests about switching, because I wanted to be on planning. Essentially, I just wanted an engineer to be on the, I think it was planning,
Program.
instead of, I don't remember which one. I was on equity and something else, and I suggested to switch that with Commissioner Sparrow.
Okay. It's not here to provide feedback, so I'm not sure.
There's a timing element with this, right?
Yeah, it needs to be done
by
now,
tomorrow.
so.
Yeah, we just have to submit a letter or an email to them with her request to change 2 different committees.
I can contact Commissioner Spitaleri with the change and make sure he's okay with it before tomorrow, or what do you want to do?
Well, I just want to have an engineering representative on that subcommittee.
I'm comfortable with that, too.
Yeah, so I just wanted to switch off the one I was on so that we could have someone from the engineers department on.
I think we have that in policy.
I think that's right, policy. I wanted to get off equity and policy and then get on planning instead.
Yeah, I think that was because Tim was on the policy committee last year.
Yeah.
So
That's
switching
right.
those from policy to planning, I don't think that would be an issue.
But since there's no action required, it's a little bit less pressing. I mean, we can get it done by tomorrow, probably.
Sure.
Yeah, we just need to get it done by tomorrow.
Yeah, we just have to
Okay.
send a notification that she was requesting to be moved from policy to planning and programming.
Okay.
And off equity.
You want to do that?
That'll be gone, too.
No, maybe.
What
Sure.
about
New administration.
economic development?
I suggested for that one that Gina Hostetler would go on that one. She was on another committee, I noticed, and it seemed like their timing would work out, so she could just stay for one meeting. I forget, because who was on that initially?
Does that work for you, Gina?
It says business advisory.
Sorry.
Are you on the yes or no? You were on the, they have you listed as business advisory. Okay.
Yes, yeah, so I think she was on business advisory, and then I was thinking she could perhaps do economic development as well.
Okay. You just have to take action to appoint her to that.
Okay. Is that okay?
She will be a breath of fresh air on those committees.
So I'll make a motion to appoint Gina Hostetler to the Economic Development Subcommittee of NOACA.
Second.
Commissioner Brady?
Aye.
Commissioner?
Yes.
Okay.
That was enthusiastic.
Gotta believe it.
The other two items under board discussion are a couple of suggestions that Commissioner Brackey has brought to our attention about some procedures that she would like to see addressed by the board. And I sent these to you guys to read ahead of time and think about. The first one listed is the procedure for filling Board of Commissioners board appointments. When she sent that to me, my response was, this will require quite a bit of administrative capacity to do this. We can, but I do remind you, we're running an 8-person office on 6 people right now, so we might not be able to do it like that. But
Yeah.
if I have a sense from the board that this is the direction you would like to go, we can certainly get to work on that. How does that look to you, Commissioner?
Well, I've always tried to promote reaching out to the 96,000 people in the county and make sure that we have application process and review, and then we go through the voting here at an open meeting. So that's always been my thought process.
And I think we always do have to vote on the appointments, but what she's suggesting is advertising 3 months in advance in a variety of channels and to
Well-
develop a standard application form.
I was gonna say, just to be clear, this was like something I wrote in like 2.5 minutes.
I
So
understand,
these
but
weren't
it's-
like
but
well
it's a
thought out,
direction.
yeah, it's well
Yeah.
thought out changes. These were just
Yes.
kind of things I was throwing out as what it could look like, but I'm very fluid as far as, what the office thinks like a good procedure would be to follow. But I just think we should have some sort of procedure, like, hey, this is coming up, we advertise it so that a variety of people have the opportunity, like they know about it.
Right.
I think there's board openings that, 99% of the county has no idea they could apply to if they wanted to. So I just wanna be able to expand that so people that are maybe interested have an opportunity to apply. And then we have a process that we can evaluate applications as well. Not just we get a list and we rubber stamp it.
I mean, it'd be nice to have a policy in place the first quarter of this year.
Okay,
But as far as timing for me, I would like to have something before we have another appointment we have to make.
Okay.
But I don't know when that is.
You have some time.
Okay, so that's great. That's what I was hoping.
Maybe June.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we were talking about that a little bit yesterday, on the different boards that you were going to, and like how things have been typically done in the past versus where we migrated to doing a little differently, including the library appointments, that we kind of totally revamped how that was originally being done to where we are now.
Yeah.
Advertising in both places and the applications coming here and then you're reviewing and you're making that appointment, because that's a 7-year appointment. So we've already kind of started to migrate towards some of the things that she's looking at doing. It's just, there's never been a formal written procedure.
Yeah, I just think it would be good, like, we know something's coming up, and here's the procedure we go through. This is what we're gonna do, that's what we do for everyone, whether it's the library board, or the DD board, or planning commission, or whatever. And then we just implement it every single time, it's a predictable way to do things.
okay.
And then getting back to NOACA appointments, I'm gonna have to research on my own to see what Medina does, because Medina has 2 commissioners and a township trustee. And they're rural, just like us, and Geauga County is 16 townships, and that's the majority of, the land population is from townships, not, we have 1 city and 3 villages. So, right,
Possibly too.
possibly 2, yeah.
Oh, who's
Well,
gonna unvillage?
Aquila,
Oh, right.
It's not gonna be-
Okay, right.
Clarendon Township.
Yeah.
So I just want to study that and bring back that information to all of us. So,
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. I know.
restructure next year.
And some counties have like their engineer as a seat, right?
Yes,
Yeah, they're not an alternate, that's actually the seat.
Correct, and that's been an ongoing,
so if we can just drill down a little bit and see what all the other counties are doing and what their
Yeah, what our
contract
options
is.
are,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, what our options are.
Yes.
Okay.
Geauga County, based on your population, only has 3 seats,
Right.
and they are 3 commissioners. And that's how it's designated in the rules and regulations. So, because we could not get our engineer added as an additional seat, they have started to put the engineer on as an alternate, so that would be part of it.
But we could restructure it in many different ways, you know. You could have the top spot be the engineer, the top spot be one commissioner and one, but I want to research that.
That involves changing your rules and regulations of NOACA, and that is something that you would have to talk to Grace about getting changed, and I know that's been an ongoing thing since I started here.
Okay.
It hasn't been changed yet, so if you guys can do it, hey, I'm done.
Right, I mean,
I will be very
Medina's
impressed.
the first place I'm gonna find out, because I know that their first choice is 2 commissioners and a township trustee,
Right.
so,
I will send those to you so you can take a look at it.
okay, great.
Because it's outlined in the rules and regulations as to how they are defined by the counties that make up NOACA.
Okay. Anything else, Susan?
Yeah, the last one is the proposed policy on public comment during Board of County Commissioners meetings. I know this has been looked at numerous times, and nothing was ever formalized. And here's an opportunity again to look at it and decide if you want to do something formal. And I'm not quite sure then once, if you did adopt it, would it be disseminated to the public? Would it be put in our policy manual? I'm not quite sure where it would live. But there's some real good specific guidelines here. The one concern that I have is if you're going to make people stick to 2 minutes, you have to make people stick to 2 minutes, even if we have to be rude. So I don't know if you want to consider something that specific, or if you just want to put in something like, a reasonable amount of time. Okay, well, Commissioner Brakey's preference would be a specific time period. But she has given us some real specific things: public comment, time period only up to 20 minutes unless extended by a motion of the board. People have to be recognized by the board. Everybody needs to give their full name and address. You get 2 minutes. Commenters have to behave themselves and be nice. Or at least
They're asked to, they don't have to,
professional,
actually,
yes.
if you read it, it does say they're
So,
kindly asked to.
And of course, to remind the public that there are other options for making their feelings known to the board through, questions or comments through the email address, through the website, by mail, those kinds of things. So I just brought this to you as something to consider. Obviously, we probably not want to take any kind of action until all 3 commissioners are here. Maybe we can come back in a couple of meetings and discuss again, unless you direct me to do otherwise.
Should we send this to the prosecutor to see?
I actually think
see if
it
they
They
can-
already did.
Laura already looked at it and
I
said
was
it was
gonna say,
okay.
I suggested that you
Yeah,
do that.
and she
I
came
wasn't
back
sure.
with, didn't have any objections to anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my thought, Commissioner DeWark, is just, for an everyday meeting, you don't really need a policy most of the time.
Right.
The Joneses and so forth are usually very respectable, and we're able to get through the meeting efficiently. But of course, every once in a while, there's a big issue that comes out, and that's when we really do need a policy. And it's better, in my opinion, to not just dump something on the public right before a big hot issue, but rather to have this policy in place that is implemented and followed every single time and is predictable for commenters.
I like the format of this. We'll wait till we get the full board, and since it's already been in the prosecutor's office and back, I'm very comfortable with that, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we can put it on for approval next week if Commissioner Spitaleri will be here, if that's what you'd like.
Yeah, and then the only thing I did talk to the prosecutor's office about, potentially, I was just curious about what the law is as far as limiting comment only to people who live in Geauga County, or perhaps, and there'd be a bunch of asterisks to that, right? You have a business interest in Geauga County, you own property in Geauga County, you're a reporter in Geauga County, whatever. Just because I noticed at the meeting on the 27th, there were so many commenters that did not live in Geauga County.
Right.
And I mean, if there's one thing I've learned about Geauga County, people are very sensitive about outside influences, trying to, you know, change how we do things here. So I was just curious about that. I knew that that was something that Chardon School District required, that you live or have a business interest in this Chardon School District in order to provide public comment. So we talked about that briefly. I personally feel like it's probably not necessary, and it could just add a lot of complexity. But Ms. Chappelle did say that if you had a meeting where there was a ton of people that wanted to speak, you could make a motion at the start of that meeting to only limit it to people in the county, or, you know, like I said, those sort of asterisks on property or et cetera. So it's just, you know, just some things I was thinking about with the policy.
Well, I'd definitely like to have a policy, and we'll continue to work on this. Hopefully next week we can vote on it.
Yeah, and I'd like to see just, you know, we have the public comment, and then you can just have it, like, you can refer to the you know, policy that's on this web address, you know, on our website, but then give just some general bullet points here, so folks don't have to refer to that, and they have some expectation of how the policy will be implemented.
Might be then beneficial to post it here in the room.
Sure.
In some permanent way, so people can know what the rules are.
Okay.
Okay? That's all I had for board discussion this week.
Anything from the president?
I do want to let you know that I spoke with Meg Noah from the Fair Board yesterday afternoon. The Fair Board did take action at their last meeting this week to change what their process was, their thought process was on poultry barn. So I've asked her to provide the updated information as well as the changes that they made. She specifically said that the dollar amount was supposed to stay the same. It's around the same square footage, it's just going to be 2 buildings, not one. They're not connected, but they are separate. And so that I would need that information to work with Ms. LaChapelle to update and amend those resolutions that we needed to do to reflect the change. And I asked her where she was at on the bond. I know that her and Ms. LaChapelle and their insurance agent have been going back and forth on it. She sent an update yesterday to me and Ms. LaChapelle, so I'm kind of waiting to see where we are on that. But they've asked the architect to do an updated rendering of what it would look like. And so once she gets that, she's gonna supply that to me so I can provide it to you guys so we can look at, we're kind of hoping as the target date of maybe February 4th.
Okay, kind of, sort of, maybe.
That's my birthday.
Is it? Oh, wow, so excited.
So, yeah, my birthday. All right, that's all I've got right now.
Now it's public comment. Anybody would like to have the comments or questions?
Nobody got fired today.
But it's still early.
Well, I'll be here next week too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
You want to